I'd like to begin right from the start, if that's okay. And if at any point it feels too much and you need a break, just please let me know and we can do so.
Okay.
So, when did you start to notice Joe's inconsistencies?
I think it was around last year, early autumn. Joe had been going through some stuff, but he never opened up too much about it. He was very secretive of his personal life. I'd always ask about it. Tried to be subtle though. It seemed as soon as I thought he might open up a little, he would just brush it away or change the subject.
Why the subtlety?
It was difficult talking anyways. We'd been drifting apart for some time. He'd moved to a new school, a new life, probably to escape from the world he was in before.
Was life hard for him in school?
I wouldn't say it was hard. The environment around him was positive most of the time. There were a few dust-ups here and there, but never anything major. He had a good group of mates, me included. I feel he was just tied up in his head a lot, with school, relationships, his home life. He had the tendency to overthink things too, fantasizing about extreme turnouts and unlikely situations.
Do you think that's why he often isolated himself?
I mean, I guess he, you could definitely sense his nervous energy. I think his overthinking got the better of him a lot. He would often miss out on gatherings or parties because of his fears. But then again, I'm not exactly sure what they were about.
I'd like to talk to you about the last month that he had. Do you remember your conversations with him?
He was living alone at the time. I suppose he used to change as a way to draw his attention away from his problems. I think as soon as he settled though, it became harder to keep thoughts out. I think that's why he peaked.
Do you think his environment started to become too repetitive? So he began to struggle with every day feeling the same?
I think it was the point where the more psychotic moments began. I know that the mind often creates things in times of loneliness.
Psychotic?
I read about it on a website at the time. I think because he was so low in his depressive state, that he began to develop an alternate state in his head. The last time we spoke, I remember him talking about the things he was seeing. I knew he knew they weren't real, but the way he talked about them often made me think they were.
Could you tell me what he was seeing?
He said that he could see what he was going to do to himself eventually. It was his own interpretation of suicide. The knives in his kitchen bleeding, towels in his bathroom forming ropes hanging from the door. He even talked about a figure following him or being present in situations where his emotions dipped even further.
Almost like a shadow.
Yeah, I think so. It was hard to understand. I tried so much to picture them, to get some sense of understanding, but I think it was all too much. I just couldn't see it, and I knew I wasn't going to.
That's completely understandable. We see this a lot with people under stress in bad spaces. Unfortunately, hallucinations and delusional thinking are topics that are often miscommunicated, both when talking about it and when being upfront with the person. It's a very fragile place for a person, and it can go absolutely anywhere.
So, how do you deal with it? What can you do to help?
It's a good question, and it's still one that psychotherapists are taking time to fully understand how they work, since everyone's experience is so different. But unfortunately, at this point in time, the only aid we could have given in Joe's case was medicine. Is everything all right, Louis?
Yeah, everything's okay. It's just too much, you know. I keep thinking about things he was describing. I couldn't do anything about it. I was helpless to a friend who needed help.
It's okay, Louis.
No, it's not okay. It's not. I let him down. We all did. Everyone that knew him, loved him, hated him. The whole fucking lot. He needed support, but it just wasn't there for him, so he fell through.
Take your time. I know this is hard. Should you take a